Hi, I'm Eric Knowles, and this is the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. But before we get started, a word from one of our supporters. Hi, and welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I'm Eric Knowles, and yeah, I'm excited. This is Women's History Month, and I have a very special guest on today, and she's special because she's one of my bosses. How are you, Martine?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for
Martine,
having me here.
Absolutely. Martine Pasquet is the Human Resource Director at Baptist Hospital.
Baptist Health.
Excuse me, Baptist Health. Let me get it right. And I mean, Baptist Health, wow, you have been growing like
Exponentially.
Leaps and bounds the last couple of years.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. When I first started at Baptist about 7.5 years ago,
Okay.
we were about 24,000 employees.
Okay.
Now we're 26 plus, almost 27.
Wow.
Last time I checked. So we have been growing. We have been acquiring.
One of the largest employees here in South Florida.
Yes. And we're very proud of our reputation here in South Florida as one of the top employers to work for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a exciting place to be.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, you've been on the board of the Chamber. Baptist has been involved with the Chamber for many years. So obviously we appreciate that engagement. We have talked offline, and obviously, the pandemic being, you're in human resources. The pandemic has obviously, from a hospital health perspective, you're at the epicenter.
Right. Absolutely.
And being at the epicenter of the health crisis itself, it also has become a human resource crisis.
Yes, very much so. We have, for the very first time in my human resources career, which dates back a few years, we had a pretty intense staffing crisis, especially with our RNs, with our nurses, as well as other roles within the organization. And again, it's not just for Baptist or South Florida. I think it's a national issue.
Right.
But the last 2 years have been pretty intense. But we are looking forward to a transformation. Right? We're seeing changes. We're seeing it's stabilizing, a bit more. So what we had seen the last couple of years is a very high rate as far as turnover is concerned. So an increase in turnover. And then again, another challenge that we have had from a human resources perspective as a result of the pandemic, we have had quite a few of our employees working remotely.
Okay.
So I am a human resources director at Baptist, but I support the corporate functions.
Okay.
So the functions that support the hospitals, right? So I'm not at the hospital, I'm at the administration.
Right.
So I support supply chain, finance, risk management, technology and digital. So all of the big departments that provide the infrastructure for the rest of the system. So quite a few of our corporate employees are working remotely.
Right.
And so that also poses a challenge. How do we keep our employees connected and engaged?
Okay.
And so that has been a challenge. And again, we're one of the top employers. So we make it a point to appreciate our employees,
Okay.
to make sure that they're engaged. So, for example, today, as we speak, is National Employee Appreciation Day,
Oh, okay.
right?
I
So
didn't know that.
yeah,
Okay.
we're
I
celebrating.
appreciate my employees. Let you all know I appreciate you,
Yes,
Paris,
yes, yes.
Beverly,
We appreciate
Matthew,
you.
Gina.
Yeah, exactly. So we have gone all out. We're giving every single employee a gift bag,
Okay.
right? So for the remote employees, we are mailing these bags to their
That's
residences.
26,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of employees. Yeah. And for those that are at the hospitals or
Right.
who are actually working on site, then we are having them come to the different locations to pick up their gifts.
Right.
But just a small token, just
Absolutely.
to let them know that we really truly appreciate them.
Right.
Because that's why we're here at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, if you don't have people to do what is needed, you don't have anything.
Right. Yeah. Because again, we're a health system. So it's for the patient care. And
Right.
even though we are corporate, we tell our employees every day, we're here for our patients. It's all about our patients. So even if you're working in HR, a supply chain, at the end, don't forget that at the end, it's about the patient. It's about and the quality of care that we are so proud to deliver.
And you talk about a lot of your employees are working remotely now. How has that shift been with the organization? And a lot of it stemming from, I guess I would talk about space, because obviously when you go to a facility, you have a cubicle or you have an office, and now that you have this remote hybrid, how has that impacted?
Well, that's been a challenge, right? So we've had to come together as a team, as a leadership team, to really think about the optimum solution. So what we do is, even though, as I mentioned, we have quite a few employees who work remote, we also give them the opportunity to come to the office. So we are actually providing hoteling space.
Okay.
So you can be at home most of the time, but once a week or once a month, depending on the department, depending on the needs of the department, those employees can come to the office and they can hotel. So we're giving them space to hook up their computers. But what's really important, Eric, which we found, is that connection.
Right.
That one-to-one interaction that a lot of us, because I work sometimes at home as well,
Right.
we miss that.
Right.
We miss the interaction.
Right.
Exactly. And we found that that's important. That helps us retain our employees. Because again, as I talked about the staffing issues, if you're working from home, then your loyalty may not be as much, right?
Right.
But if you can connect with me as an individual, as a leader, as a person, the likelihood of you staying with the organization is increased by 100%.
Did you find, again, with the pandemic, having people work from home, did you find and I know a lot of people in different areas opted not to go back to work, I wouldn't say opted, but push the button in terms of salary. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, again, we did see a shift in the market, right, as far as the competitive pay.
Right.
And now a lot of our employees, talk about, hey, I could get an offer somewhere else. So we've had to be very competitive.
Okay.
So that means, paying attention to the market and ensuring that we are able to offer the types of salaries that we need in order to have the talent that we need to continue to provide the care that we do in the community.
Right.
So it hasn't been easy. It's a constant evaluation. We work very closely with our compensation department to make sure that they're constantly evaluating the different roles in the market to make sure that the salaries that Baptist offers are competitive and that we're not only able to retain our employees, but that we can also attract the type of talent that we need.
And then you have the fact that you have, again, the pandemic has just changed the way of business. Here, obviously in South Florida, we were able to stay open, and where a lot of the northern states weren't. and you have a lot of transplants down. So did you find any influx in that at all?
We some, especially with the nurses, with the clinical. So we were at one point we were able to find travelers, um, uh, nurses that could come from all over the U.S. to help us
Right.
within the crisis. But yeah, we're starting to see a slight shift. A lot of technology people
Okay.
are moving to
Right.
Florida.
Right.
Right. So that's positive for us.
Right.
Yeah, we love that. Hey,
Exactly.
come on down.
Right,
Come
right,
on
right,
down.
right. Now,
Yeah.
again, going back to this whole hybrid of working from home, um, I guess, like you said, they could come in once a week or come in once a month. Do you see people like, okay, well, I'm going to go work from the Bahamas? I know I just threw. I know I threw a little wrench
Right.
in there.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. We probably would see more of that, but occasionally we have a whole protocol if somebody wants to work outside of South Florida. I mean, we do have employees who work in the U.S. in other states.
Okay.
We do. But internationally, not as much.
Right.
I think that's something that we need to think about for the future. But right now, we're not there. But if somebody perhaps wants a couple of weeks of vacation, we have a protocol, a process that they can go through to make sure that they are in fact working.
I can just see that now. Okay.
Right. But the other thing, yeah, the ability to work from home just offers that much more flexibility.
Right.
Right. And if anything, what we have seen is burnt out.
Yeah,
because the employees work hard at home.
That's the thing. To your point, you actually, I think there was a study out that people actually work more because you don't take the breaks.
You don't take the breaks.
You're there.
And those emails and the telephone calls and those texts, and now there are 500 ways of getting messages, right?
Right.
We have so many different platforms that we can get messages. And we have some very conscientious employees.
Right.
So they wake up very early in the morning, so that break you would normally have at the water cooler doesn't happen.
Exactly.
So we do talk a lot about well-being.
Okay.
At Baptist, we do encourage our employees to take a break, take a physical break, get up, walk, do something, and then really have work-life balance.
Right.
So we're constantly sending those messages because our employees' health is, of course, like major employees, is very important to us, especially being in healthcare, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But we have seen an increase in just burnt out.
Right.
Employee burnt out. So we're constantly talking to our employees and saying, take a few minutes to just step away and have a schedule. So we have actually a well-being department.
Okay.
That concentrates and helps our employees just to stay healthy. That's so important.
Right. But again, Miami in Miami-Dade County, obviously, it's a huge county. And I know you said Baptist has been growing quite a bit. Talk about the growth of Baptist in the last few years.
Yes, well, the last few years we did acquire a hospital in Boca Raton.
Okay.
And we also have one in Bethesda. Okay. We're going up to the
Maryland
beach. Well, we're still in Florida.
Okay.
We're still in Florida. We're going north to Palm Beach, and also we're all the way in the Keys. I don't know if you know that we have a hospital in the Keys, Mariners and Fishermen's Hospital in the Keys. So we're really, across 4 counties and growing.
Okay.
To Jupiter, different places. Yeah.
And then as an HR director, how does your responsibility go across those areas?
Well, my role specifically, since I'm corporate, wherever employees who are corporate, so you could be a supply chain employee, and you're a corporate employee, but maybe you're assigned to a location, let's say at Boca.
Right.
So I would still oversee, I would still be your business partner.
Right.
But we also have HR directors at the different locations. So we have an HR director at Bethesda Hospital, an HR director at Boca Raton Hospital. We have an HR director at Fisherman, at Homestead, South Miami. So they're different. So we do have different HR directors. My role is to oversee the corporate side.
But, you know, I don't know that a lot of young people understand the role of HR. Talk about the importance a little bit about having an HR department.
Right.
I mean, it sounds kind of for me to ask what the importance, but
Right.
talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think it's absolutely critical to have an effective and well-functioning HR department. Because what does an HR director do? So, for example, I am an employee advocate, as well as I understand the business objectives. So I work very closely with the operational leadership to understand whatever strategic objectives they have,
Right.
and work with the employees to make sure that there's a bridge, right?
Okay.
So if an employee has a question, a problem, a situation, they can come to HR. Just the same, we offer the same sort of assistance to the leadership as well.
Right.
So we're like a liaison. We're the middleman, but we're here to make sure that we have an environment that is based on trust, that is fair, that is consistent, that we're applying rules in a consistent manner throughout, so that no one feels that they're being treated differently. So that, to me, is really the key role of HR. We're kind of like I don't want to use the word policeman, right? But we are there to ensure that we not only have an environment that is that has no discrimination whatsoever, but it is the opposite, that it is a positive environment where everybody feels as though they are exactly where they want to be, and that they are contributing to the organization, right? Because one has to feel as though, in life you have a mission, right? You have a purpose. We spend most of our time working. So as an HR leader, to me, that is incredibly important.
Absolutely.
That we can create that sort of environment where not only employees are doing well, but the organization is doing well. So, did I answer your question?
Absolutely. No, because like you said, it's I guess a symbiotic relationship between the employee and corporate.
Right,
and the
exactly,
organization.
in the organization.
And before we wrap it up, I know you've been engaged with the chamber as a board member. Here we are in Women's History Month. What does that mean to you?
It's a tremendous honor, number one, to be part of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. And I've had that privilege of serving on the board, really understanding what the chamber does in the community. So to me, that's just been incredibly important. And just to see how much we do assist in the community, right? That's just been a great experience. So.
This has been great. There's never enough time. I don't know. I'm going to have to make this an hour long.
Maybe. There's so much to say, right?
Yeah. I'm going to have to maybe consider making this an hour-long program. But this has been the Miami-Dade Chamber Member Connection. If you want to know more about the chamber, go to m-dcc.org or call the chamber at 305-751-8648. Today, I stand before you, a proud graduate of Miami-Dade College and the 5th president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored to return to the college that prepared me to become a leader in our community, providing an education second to none. So I'm asking you to please tune in every Monday at 12 noon to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce's Member Connection, as I interview members of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce on our Facebook page at Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, or our YouTube channel, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. To learn more about the chamber, please go to m-dcc.org or call the chamber at 305-751-8648.